Welcome back to my channel, sports fans. Okay, let's get into this right here. As Scamp would say, Joker's teammates who are trash came through again for Joker in the clutch. Yes, Joker hit a clutch shot, but ultimately it was his teammates coming through in the clutch in the fourth quarter, in the last 5 minutes, coming through for Joker, and Aaron Gordon saved Joker. I mean, the game would have went into overtime, but still, I mean, Joker missed that shot. Aaron Gordon, the putback dunk to win the game. Whoa, what a game. This is real NBA basketball. These guys are able to play defense. And Scamp, what is he going to say? He's going to say Joker put up, he grabbed, 21 rebounds and 38 points. And I think he only came out as a +4 with all that he put up, all those stats that he put up. Only came out like a +4, if I'm not mistaken, +4, +6 or something like that. So, his garbage teammates, and they almost blew a 20-point lead to James Harden and Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard looked pedestrian the whole game until the fourth quarter. He finally woke up and realized he was in the NBA and he was getting paid all this money. I'm talking about this guy was he was horrible. I'm not talking about shooting wise, but Kawhi Leonard, it's just something to be said about this guy. I know he woke up in the fourth quarter, but goodness gracious, man. I mean, it's hard for these guys to string out 2 good games in a row. To me, these guys are just, guys like James Harden. I mean, not James Harden. You can say James Harden too, but, James Harden, at least he's aggressive, most of the times. Kawhi Leonard just sits back like lifeless, the entire game. And, like I said, he did come through in the fourth quarter. He had some big shots, and he was playing defense. But man, this is why they were down 20 points. I'm telling you, just want to think. I said who has 2 top 75 players on their team besides who was it? Dame Lillard and Greek Freak. But I truly forgot this is how bad it is because Kawhi never plays. He's like lifeless in games and stuff like that. I forgot all about James Harden and Kawhi Leonard, 2 top 75 players who should be dominating. With the money they make, their superstar status and everything like that. But Denver had this game in the bag, and I guess no game is in the bag in this era. When you're up by 20, it really means nothing. But they almost blew it. Now that offensive foul call on Joker, I don't see it. I don't think it was an offensive foul. Zubac was playing it pretty hard, so they got to let that go. I think that was a no call. They didn't have no business calling that. You're pressing that man, you're pushing the man, and okay, he hooks you, but you're pushing up on him, and we got to realize when we say physical defense back in the past, grabbing and holding a guy and chipping him, that's not necessarily physical basketball. When you're not moving your feet, when you're moving your feet and you're just bodying the guy and you're bodying the guy or something like that, that's physical defense. When you're chipping the guy and you're pushing him and stuff like that and holding him and grabbing him, that's not physical basketball. That's a foul. That's a foul. So what Joker did, like I said, he hooked him after he was getting pushed and tugged and stuff like that. That should have been a no call. That could have been big in the game. But ultimately it didn't happen. Joker hit a big shot at the end of the game. And, I think a lot of people, he's been hearing a lot of people that, his teammates have been hitting big shots, Gordon, Murray, and other guys who was at Brown and stuff on the perimeter. So I think he took it in his own hands to hit that. Well, we could call it was almost a game-winning shot, but James Harden came down the lane and just went right the hell over Joker, like he's not even a center. And Zubac went over him and got the damn offensive rebound. Joker wasn't boxing out. He didn't try to challenge James Harden. He's a liability on defense, and that would have been a storyline if they would have lost. It really would. That Zubac was able to get that rebound over him because he wasn't boxing out. You got to do one or the other. If James Harden, I know he beat his guy, but you was right there, Joker. You didn't jump and try to challenge him. And okay, if you didn't jump and try to challenge him, at least you should have been trying to box out Zubac. He was in so deep. You were like under the rim after James Harden came at you. That's how crazy it was. This guy was under the rim. So when the ball came off the rim, he was so far underneath the rim that he couldn't get the ball. He couldn't get the ball, and Zubac just popped it right back in. So Joker is a big liability on defense. And he's never going to play defense because he wants to get his stats. It just doesn't work out like that. You can't get all these stats, points, rebounds, and assists and be able to play defense. It just doesn't happen like that. We've seen it with LeBron James. He wants to be this stat guy in the past where he puts up his 27, 7, and 7, and then you can't play defense. You can't be Mr. Triple Double and play defense. You're gonna have to find out what you want to do. Do you want to put up the triple double? Do you want to put up all the assists, the rebounds, and the points, or do you want to put up rebounds, points, and then play defense? That's what I think a center should be doing. He should be saving his energy on playing defense. But Joker don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? So that's going to be his downfall later on. he's not going to be able to play defense, and they're going to lose. And they're going to blame his team for not hitting big shots, and Joker's going to get his stats, and they're going to say, look at his stats. And we were saying that same thing about LeBron James. Look at his stats. Who cares if he played defense? That's on his teammates. So, later on, if they win or they lose, Joker is going to be the liability. And Scap is looking stupid now because the Clippers aren't really no better than the Denver Nuggets. I haven't seen it. One team looks lifeless one game, the other team looks lifeless the other team, the other game, another. That's just how it is. We didn't see no Clippers performance that they put on the last game, especially from Kawhi Leonard. These guys in this era, they don't seem to have it. I'm not saying Joker because he puts on good performances every game, but most of these star players, like LeBron James, maybe we'll see next game because the first 2 games he put on the crap performances, and then this game he put on a good performance. We'll see next game what he's able to do. But when we look at Kawhi Leonard, we look at James Harden, we look at a lot of these players, great players, they're unable to put on great performances game to game like other past great players. I just don't know what's going on with these guys. Jamal Murray, I don't know. Nobody knows what's wrong with this guy. I guess he's always going to be Jamal Murray. He's just going to suck for, 2-3 quarters, and then he's going to wake up in the 4th quarter, hit big shots, and it's just mind blowing when you watch his NBA. He's not, we just call him Mr. 4th quarter. I guess I don't know what to really call him. Joker missing a free throw that could have put him up by we put him up by 3 or something like that, or I think it might have been 2. I forget what it was, but it didn't come back to harm. Crazy game right here. The storylines could have went either way, but the storyline to me is, Joker did his thing in the clutch somewhat. We can't take nothing away from him. But the big thing is his teammates. I really don't know who's pooping on his teammates. I really haven't heard anybody in social media pooping on his teammates except for Scap. That's it. This NBA, you don't have no great teams to be pooping on his teammates like that. You know what I'm saying? They're, almost 2 years removed from winning a championship. Let's see if they can win it this year. They remember when they got ran out to court by OKC. The next game they beat OKC. It was just like, what are we talking about? I mean, I'm just like, dumbfounded about who's really good in this era. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. It's just these teams aren't consistent, and these aren't like I think what is this, a 4 and a 5 seed playing each other? So I don't know where his angle is coming from, where he claims that this Clippers team is so much better. I mean, you got lifeless Kawhi that had one good game, and he said this was Kobe like that game last game, and it was Jordan like, and he even said it was better than any performance that Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant put on. I'm like, this guy is losing all credibility by the damn game. He's losing all credibility. He's dissing he's dissing SGA for having 2 bad games and his team blown out an 8 seed, and they're just a dynastic team, and they're the best regular season team of all time. I'm like, this guy, and then he claims, oh, you guys say I don't know basketball. I had OKC dominating and winning the West this year. I'm like, they won the West last year. What is this guy talking about? I mean, they're playing the 8 seed and blowing them out and coming back from 29-point, deficit and stuff like that. And he claims they're the greatest team of all time. I'm like, man, I can say they're not even better than, some of those Bulls teams. We already know they're not better than 95-96 Bulls team, but, they're not better than the 91 Bulls team. You know what the 91 Bulls team did? They beat the crap out of everybody, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't they sweep like all through the playoffs, and then they lost to one game to the Lakers? If I'm not mistaken, they might have lost 2. I'm not for sure, but I thought I think they might have lost 1 in the playoffs and then lost 1 in the finals. That Kobe and Shaq team one year, they only lost 1 in the whole damn playoffs, even through the finals. I think, what was that, when they lost to, I think they lost to the 76ers that year in that one game. But, this guy is losing his mind. He poops on, Drew Holiday, saying, that's all Giannis has, he said that's all Giannis had when he won a championship. First he said, What's this guy? The other guy's name? They already traded him that one. He was always hurt. I forget his name, but he was the second best player on the team. And he said, "Oh yeah, he did have him, but his star player was Drew Holiday and all." I'm like, man, this guy is just crazy, man. Somebody needs to take his NBA card away because the stuff he says don't make no sense. And now he's looking like a fool because another teammate on that team is doing what? They're hitting another clutch shot. I know it was a dunk, but another player came through in the clutch. And after Joker missed the shot, and he put back the basket. So I mean, I don't know what this guy's talking about. He's looking like a fool, and I keep having subs on my channel telling me they unsubscribe to his channel because he sounds like a fool with the stuff he says, and it doesn't make any sense. He sounds desperate for Joker. Let the playoffs play out for the guy. He said that this series was over. Suddenly they got a 20-point lead. Suddenly they're dogging out the Clippers, and we know the Clippers came back. I mean, it's the NBA. It's the NBA where these guys are shooting all kinds of threes and stuff like that. So no lead is safe and stuff like that. And they're not a defensive team. They're not a defensive team. The Nuggets aren't. And this great defense that they say the Clippers had. How did they have a 20-point lead on the Clippers if Scap's saying they were this great defensive team? It doesn't make any sense to me. This Denver team can hit shots with the best of them. Okay, Joker does his thing. No doubt. Nobody has nothing to say about Joker, but we can say he has deficiencies on the defensive end. Okay, we can say that a lot of players, a lot of teammates on his team hit clutch shots. We just keep seeing it. What if Joker, he missed that shot, and what if Gordon would have not got that putback, and they go into overtime and then they lose? That would be on Joker for not hitting that clutch shot. You know what I'm saying? And he had another 3 to hit during the game for them to go up, I think, by like 2 or 3 points, and he just passed the ball over to, I don't know, who was that, Brown or something? He missed the shot. So I don't know, man. I just, it's a good series. Again, I don't think one team is better than the other, but Scap swears that Joker's team is trash. I don't know what he wants. I guess he wants. Imagine this. He's saying that, him and Greek Freak should be on the same team. So that automatically sounds stupid because Greek Freak scores a lot of points. He gets a lot of rebounds, and he's somewhat of a facilitator, if you will. You know what I'm saying? He averages 6 assists. So what are we looking at then? What are we looking at then if you put both of them on the same team? These basically are the same players that's doing the same thing on the same team. Now, if you wanted a great point guard or something like that, or a small forward or something like that, but you basically have the same players doing the same thing, basically at the same position. I know Greek Freak doesn't play center, but he plays in the paint. So that wouldn't even make no sense. I mean, this guy is crying wolf, and he's looking stupid because nobody believes him. Nobody. You hear about the boy who cried wolf. It was just fake. Every time they you know what I'm saying? They come on, man. You know the story. The boy who cried wolf. It was fake. It was fake. There was nothing wrong with him. There's nothing wrong with this Denver team. There's no great teams in the NBA. Again, OKC hasn't showed us nothing. They're not in the Western Conference Finals yet. They beat up on a beat up Memphis team. That's it. Memphis had a chance to win that game, and Memphis had a chance to win the other day. That's not taking care of business to me. As this dynastic great team and stuff like that. A team who takes care of business is a team like the Cavs. Okay, the Heat, except for this game, the other 3 games they fought. They fought hard. They played hard basketball, and they got after it. But the Cavs were too good. You've seen that in the past with great teams. They will play lower seed teams, and they will be gritty and they will be scrappy, and they come out and play. And then in the fourth quarter, they just take off and say you're a number 8 seed. You know what I'm saying? That's what the Cavs did. They pretty much took care of business. To me, I don't see OKC. They didn't really take care of business. When you're down that many points and you got to come back, and the only reason why I think you was able to come back is because their best player was hurt. I'm not going to try to say he was going to put up 40 points, but goodness gracious. And then he didn't even play this game, and they had a chance to win, or they hung in there on OKC. So I don't see OKC as a world beater. Like I said, we'll see as the rounds go on. How good they're going to be. If they're going to against better competition. How are they going to play against better competition? If they're the greatest regular season team of all time, I would like to see this. I would like to see them go to the next round where you're playing, better competition, and you're able to beat that team at least 4-2. I want, what I'm saying, beat them 4-1, something like that. I want to see them go to the Western Conference Finals and be able to beat a team like that. Even a better team, because they're in the Western Conference Finals, beat them 4-2. Okay, and then I could say, okay, maybe this is one of the greatest regular season teams of all time. But point differential, that ain't gonna do it to me. That ain't, or what they say, point differential, defensive differential, all that crap. That don't prove nothing, man. You just put up stats on in a weak era. That's all you're doing. Explain to me, how come the league in the regular season didn't play like they're playing in the playoffs? So you're trying to tell me they would have this point differential in great defense that they had during the regular season on their opponents if they played the same way, all these teams, the way they're playing in the playoffs, if they were able to play this style of basketball in the regular season? Was Cap really be saying that about OKC? because the 90s teams, the 2000s teams, the 70s teams that he's comparing OKC to, they had to play that style of basketball in the regular season and in the playoffs. Okay. They didn't just have to relax and not play defense and miss games, and star players miss games, and what I'm saying, stuff like that. And then you got into the playoffs and now you're playing defense. You know what I'm saying? It didn't work like that back in the day. You had to play defense during the regular season hardcore, and then when you got into the playoffs, it got even tougher when teams played on defense. I mean, this is ridiculous, man. Scap is looking stupid.